to do a check-in and see how everyone is doing in the internet world community. And this year has been very difficult for a lot of people, and I understand that. And what we want to do today is break down what's been going on and talk about these issues that are prevalent to our society and our way of life and everything that is going on right now. And if you want to type in the box how you feel about 2020, let us know. Tell us, maybe you're struggling, maybe you're doing great, maybe you're having a hard time. Whatever it is, tell us in the box. And what I did a couple days ago is I actually did a survey for some people on my website. I sent a small handful of emails to people, and I asked them how they feel about 2020 and how it's been treating them. And you can see that an overwhelmingly large majority said that they're struggling financially right now. Only a small percentage, actually the smallest percentage, said that they're doing great and the stuff hasn't affected them. A lot of people said they're doing terrible and really hurting, and some people said they're hanging in there and things aren't what they could be. So what we want to do today is get to the bottom of exactly what's going on and talk to you guys about how we could get away from this, how we can understand exactly what's happening. Now, this is going to be different than my regular training type live streams, because what we're going to do is we're going to talk to you about my point of view and my insight into what's going on. Now, the first thing we want to do today is we want to take a look at what is actually going on, right? We turn on the news and every day it seems like something crazy is happening. Every day it seems like people are hurting, more people are on the food lines, more people are struggling to get government assistance. And as you can see from this screenshot here, which we took from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, you could see here that the unemployment in April of 2020 shot up to about 14.7%. Now, it has corrected a little bit since some people have gone back to work, but it's still really, really struggling. And there's still a lot of people that are out of work, a lot of people that are struggling to make ends meet. And just last night, I was reading about how the average person, there's a lot of people struggling with rent and mortgage, and the average person is like $5,000 behind on their payments. Now, if we take a look at this screenshot here, we're going to see that the unemployment amount over 27 weeks. So that means someone who's been employed or unemployed for 27 weeks or more is literally skyrocketing here. And you can see that it is actually coming close to the 2008 downfall levels, right? So we're dealing with something big here. And this is something I mentioned at the beginning of the year when I did a video about how to make money in a recession and how to understand what's going on. And I want you guys to look at this because, some of it is difficult to look at. Like, I'd rather go look at rainbows and dream about unicorns instead of looking at what's actually going on and getting to the bottom of these issues. And I think if you get to the bottom of these issues and you understand how everything works and you understand your place, what you can do, I think that we can start to grow as a society, as a community, and really take care of people that are hurting, because there's a lot of people hurting right now. And if you're hurting right now, if you're struggling, type it in the box. Let us know where you're at. We're all friends here. We want to kind of be here and boost each other up and see what we can do to help each other. Now, we could see here some news reports that were put just recently. The issues going on in 2020 push newly hungry Americans to crowded food lines. There's like bread lines here in America, right? First world country, lots of money, places where we have a guy who's on track to become the first trillionaire. And there's people lining up for bread lines. This is, in my opinion, an atrocity. Right? This is something that is very morally and ethically wrong in our society, where you have it. I grew up living in Los Angeles, and when I used to be in Los Angeles, you would drive by a mansion and you'd be like, hey, there's Dr. Phil's $25 million house. And over here on the other side of the road, there's a dude living in a tent because he can't afford it and he has a job, right? So we got to look at this and we got to understand, because I think as a community, and let me know your thoughts in the box. This is definitely different than our regular live streams. Let me know your thoughts, because I think as a community, we have moved past this idea of, yeah, there's a bunch of freeloaders that don't want to work. I think most people do want to work, and we see that. Like in the Great Depression, you could have said, hey, 20 million Americans are unemployed. They don't want to work. But FDR stood up and said, you know what? They do want to work, and we're going to put them to work, and we're going to build dams and roads and highways and things, and we're going to build this stuff, and we're going to put America back to work. And they actually went and put it back to work. Here's another one from the Washington Post that said, a growing number of Americans are going hungry. That's right. Like, as you're sitting down to your Thanksgiving meal, to your Christmas meal, there's people hungry. there's people that can't afford to make things happen. I was watching a report the other day where this lady who owned a restaurant, her restaurant gets shut down, and some movie studio opens a restaurant in the same parking lot. And they're like, no, you can't have your restaurant, lady who's been doing this forever. But this movie company who's a campaign donor, yeah, they can have theirs. And the unfairness that's going on is pushing everyone to believe that I don't care which side of the aisle you're on politically. In my opinion, the government doesn't work for you. The government works for the huge campaign donors and the huge stuff going on. And that's why you see all this stuff. And I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's continue on and let me know your thoughts in the comment as well. If this stuff makes you angry, if you're like, wow, really? We're giving tax breaks to multi-billionaires and we have to fight to get people $600? We got to fight to get people enough food to eat. We got to rely on, churches and donations when all these people are taxpayers. All these people. And we look at that and we say, what are we going to do? And literally you have a government that says, hey, you guys can't go to work and we're not going to cover it, right? You have a business owner that's like, hey, you guys can't pay your employees and we're not going to do anything about it. And there's lots of stuff. Now, here's another one. A lot of people saw this screenshot where there's thousands of cars form a line to collect food in Texas, right? In Texas, there's miles of people lining up to get food because they can't get their basic necessities. Wolf Warrior says a church 2 blocks from his apartment is giving out food. And sometimes the line is 3 blocks long. And we look at this, and this is something morally wrong. And we're going to talk to you guys about that. We're going to talk about the political side. We're going to talk about my opinions and point of views. And we're going to talk to you about what you can do. Because I want to really get you like Wolf Warrior says. He's furious about this, right? And Don says, look at the number of Congress members who filtered out the PPE money for themselves. Absolutely. I was going to put a screenshot on this, but I actually took it out at the last minute where it showed the net worth of people elected to Congress, like that Kelly Loeffler or whatever. She's worth $500 million. Pelosi, worth tons of millions of dollars. Trump, billions of dollars. And whether you like it or not, these people aren't fighting for you. Some of them do here and there. But as a whole, like you look at it and everyone says, hey, the government works slowly. It works slowly. Yeah, unless you're a major corporation. If you're a major corporation and you need a handout, it's there the next day. Look at it through history. They go and they vote and it's unanimous. It's unanimous. If you're a billionaire, you get socialism for the rich. If you're a common person, you're stuck footing the bill. And guess what? The people that are common people, the normal people, you and me, are the ones that pay the most in taxes. Every year I do my taxes and I say, look, here's my mortgage, here's my health insurance, here's this, here's that, here's all my expenses, including my employees. It still doesn't add up to the amount I pay in taxes every year. And for what? So that we can help billionaires? So that they can give me a couple nickels back in my Social Security? Right? This stuff should make us angry. Because you look at it and you take someone who's a working person making $100,000 a year trying to live in Los Angeles. And by the way, if you make $100,000 in Los Angeles and you didn't buy your house back in the 40s, you're broke. Right? People say $100,000 a year. In Los Angeles, that's broke. And you look at it and you say, this guy here, he can't even afford to eat. He's paycheck to paycheck. He's living on credit cards. And his tax bill is 30%. If you add in state tax, probably 50%. And you got a guy who's a multi-billionaire who pays way less. And his less isn't even adding up to the burden that it is on the others. Let's continue on. Here you have one. Miles-long food banks as 25 million people in America struggle with hunger. Here's another one. You have all this stuff, along with the widely supported renewal of aid for small businesses, which we found overwhelmingly went to large corporations. They went to huge landowners. They went to the stock traders, not the people who actually need it. They went to other people. And we look at this. And so they passed this thing. And most of the money goes to the super wealthy. And now they're sitting there saying, hey, guys, I don't know if we could give everyone $600. Let's think about this. So far, the average person got $1,200. I didn't get it. Lots of people I know didn't get it. Some people who didn't need it got it. Like I know a lot of people who are in retirement, and it's like, okay, some people do need it, some don't. But, if you're retired, you didn't really lose your job. So it should go to people that do lose a job. All right. It should go to the people who need it, whether they're retired or not. And we look at this and we're like, okay, so they gave you $1,200. This has been going on since March. And we got March, April, May, June. You got 7-8 months. Do the math. Maybe 9 months. I don't know. My math brain's tired today. And they say, here's $1,200. And now they're fighting for another $600. Let me ask you, is there anyone here that $2,000 or $1,800, if you add it up, would make any bit of difference? Like literally, that's like $180 a month. It's not going to make a difference in anyone's life. Not at all. And we look at it and we say, what is going on? And they're fighting over this. Now, they say, hey, we got a defense budget for $800 billion. And even though there's nothing going on right now, we pass that at the drop of a hat. Rich people need money. Drop of a hat. They get it. Drop of a hat. Why? Because they put these politicians in power. Who do they work for? Not you, not me. Corporations. There's a reason why you look at the board of corporations, right? Like, why was Hillary Clinton, who was a politician, on the board of Walmart? Like, why is that even a thing? What the hell? She doesn't know how to run a Walmart. Favors. We got to look at it. We got to understand what's going on because it's completely rigged. And we're going to talk to you about how to do this. And this stuff makes me very angry because I care about the people. I care about people struggling. I care about people who are trying to make ends meet. I care about the masses that have no voice, right? We have no voice. You say, well, I voted blue, I voted red. It doesn't matter. You put a different lipstick on the same pig. That's all it is. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter. One party might give a couple of coins to this. One party is going to make your health insurance go through the roof. The other is going to make your premiums go down, but your other stuff's going to go up. No matter how you slice it, right? You look at it over the last 40 years, and it's always been the same. It's like, 12 of one, a dozen of another. It's the same thing, right? It doesn't matter what it is, and we got to focus on that and say, what is going on? Now, all these people, these politicians who were elected to solve the problem are fighting over $600 for you. Now, they could come out with one piece of paper and say, here's one piece of paper. This is the bill, $600 to everyone who meets this criteria. Sign it. But they don't do that. They say, well, if we're going to give $600 to these people, well, then, we need to slip in there that corporations get immunity. Corporations get immunity. It's the American corporations. That's what it is. And they're not all bad, but we're going to get into it in a minute because a lot of people have the argument. A lot of people in my group, the people that I associate with, very much differ with me on opinions. And they say, the rich people create the jobs, Marcus. You don't understand. Those people create the jobs. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So here we have this. And actually, the $600 that they're debating on right now is going to come out of your stuff no matter what. Right? No matter how you slice it, it's going to be like, well, you get $300 in a check right now, but your unemployment insurance won't last as long. Right? We got to look at this. And this is something that I'm glad my dad taught me early on. He was like, son, you're on your own. You got to figure out your own way. Your job doesn't care. Your government doesn't care. The guy down the road doesn't care. The church doesn't care. Nobody cares. And this can be the most hurtful thing in the world, but it can also be the most freeing thing because it's like no one cares. Now I can go do what I need to do, ethically, responsibly, morally, of course, but we can do what we need to do. Here's another one. Late stage mortgage delinquencies rose 1.4% among borrowers in July, the highest level since 1999. Think about that. Here's another one. Tens of millions of Americans struggle to pay rent. Can't even pay the rent. They're going to get kicked out. But no, we need to give corporations more breaks. And we need to pay for Amazon to get another building so that they create jobs. And if you do it, it would be actually cheaper to give money to the people that Amazon's going to hire. It would literally be cheaper. But no one looks at this. They say, oh, they create jobs. And look at this. Follow with me here. You might disagree. You might agree. But have an opinion and stand for your opinion. One thing I learned in rehab is stand for something or fall for everything. What do you stand for? And don't stand for a politician. they all burn you. I like Bernie Sanders, feeling a little burned right now. Right? I do feel the burn, but not in a good way. I feel the burn in the way that he voted for something that threw American people under the rug financially. That's a burn, right? Now, luckily, I didn't put all my eggs in one basket, and I focus on doing my own thing. Tens of millions of Americans struggle right now to pay rent. Here's another one. What's between 30 million Americans and an eviction tsunami? 30 million Americans facing eviction. Here's another one. This is from the CARES Act. This is the CARES Act. So you have 30 million people behind on rent and mortgages. You got people going to bread lines, millions of people. You got all this stuff struggling. And what does the government do? Well, they give $367 billion in loans and grants for small businesses. Okay, well, we looked at it. The numbers showed 70% went to large businesses. Big businesses. Okay, now some businesses do need a little bit of help. You know, your airlines and stuff that can't operate. Sure. Another one, expansion of unemployment benefits increased to $600 per week. That was a good thing. Direct payments to families of $1,200. Yeah, that's a penance, right? They're throwing you a quarter. They're like, here you go. Here's your quarter. Catch it. And you go, yay. And it's like, how much did you pay to get that quarter? A lot more than a quarter. Over $130 billion in grants to hospitals, healthcare systems, and providers, which, by the way, there's a lot of hospitals raking it in right now. Right? I don't know if you've had a hospital bill lately. Hopefully not. But when I get them, they're not cheap. It's like $6,000 to say hi to a guy. $6,000 to get one little test that cost a quarter. And we got to look at this, okay? And what this all is it's a huge hidden tax on the middle class. Huge hidden tax on the middle class. The middle class always gets the shaft. They always do. Why? Because they're not paying the politicians. The other people are paying the politicians, getting them elected. The majority of the money that they admit, they were like, okay, well, 367, that went to small businesses. Did it really? No. $500 billion went to corporate America. Cash grants for airlines, stock buyback, all of this stuff. Now, if we break it down, $4 trillion is available for big business. $4 trillion. Like your congressman, if you ask him for like $250 billion, if you ask him for $5, they got to have a vote. They got to have a meeting. They got to have all this stuff. But when it comes to corporations, they flip out $4 billion like it's going out of style. And what does that do? That makes the value of the dollar go down. That makes less for other people, and it makes the income inequality gap rise. If you don't understand that income inequality is a problem, you need to do some reading. You look at it. For me, for some weird reason, after I got out of rehab in 2014, I got obsessed with studying the Great Depression. I don't know why. I got some audiobooks. I got tons of books about the Great Depression. I was just like interested in it. And so I read everything I could about it, and I was like, wait a minute. Income inequality levels in the Great Depression are pretty much similar to what they are now. It's actually getting a little bit worse now. And you say, well, why is this a problem? This is a problem because the super wealthy don't spend all their money. They keep it stocked away. They don't have to. The middle class, we spend what we make, right? We're like, I got to get a house. I got to eat. Shit, there's nothing left. We spend it all. But if you have all the money sitting up there, it has to go somewhere. And so we have to understand this. Now, 70% of the $350 billion we talked about up here, earmarked for small businesses, went to large corporations. $10 billion of your taxpayer money went to banks that put out loans so they could make money on this stuff. Right? I'm not making this up. I wish this was not real, but you look at it and it's like, holy crap. So like they're getting paid on getting paid on getting paid and getting a handout for getting paid. Literally, that's what's going on. 82% of the CARES Act benefited those making more than $1 million. 82%. 82%. You take the amount. I think it was like 2 trillion dollars. $2 trillion. You take 1.7 or 1.8 trillion, probably 1.9 if you do the math, and you give it to those making over 100 million or over $1 million. Are those people starving? No. Are you hurting? Yeah, there's probably a lot of people hurting right now, and our government doesn't care. Millionaires reap 80% of the benefit from the tax change and coronavirus stimulus. Nation's wealthiest to avoid $82 billion of tax liability. Hedge fund investors and real estate owners benefit most. Hedge fund. And you look at it and you're like, well, who owns hedge funds and all these real estate companies? I don't know. Not much research to do that. We got to look at it. We got to understand it. Company sees a 37% increase in earnings. Amazon got rich. Like, we have a joke here in Florida where when we have a hurricane, they say this hurricane is sponsored by Publix, who is our big grocery store out here, because they're always advertising and they make a fortune every time there's a hurricane because people buy stuff. Amazon is the Publix of America, and the hurricane was the stuff that's going on. And we look at it, and their profits went through the roof. Richest man in the world almost doubled his net worth. Doubled. And you think about that, and it's like, this guy's making numbers that Congress fights about. Like, you ask Congress for $200 billion, and they pucker up tighter than whatever the hell puckers up. And we look at it, and it's like, what the hell? What the hell? And they sit there, and governments go, hey, make a new Amazon over here and we'll give you $8 billion. Yeah, that's a good use of your taxpayer money. Let's give a guy with $100 billion, $8 billion. Let's give him more. And we look at this, and this should make you angry. Facebook, Google, Amazon, Apple, profits soar during the pandemic. Jeff Bezos' $150 billion fortune is a policy failure. It's a policy failure. Amazon, here's another one, okay? Now, you might be saying, well, Marcus, wait a minute. This is a business channel. You teach business. I mean, shouldn't you be business-oriented? I mean, Jeff Bezos employs a lot of people. Walmart employs a lot of people. Boeing employs a lot of people. Well, let's take a look at that. Amazon employs 1 million people. It's quite a bit. I don't know the exact number in the U.S. I think it's close to 1 million in the U.S. now, but I'm not positive. But still, let's call it 1 million. All right, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Walmart employs 1.5 million in the U.S. So that's 2.5 million people. That's what, like 1% of America? Like, not even, I don't even think it's 1%. I don't know. You do the math. All right, so you got these people. They do provide jobs. But who in America is the largest employer of people? Okay, you want to take a guess? Put your guess in the box. Who do you think is the largest employer of people in America? I'm going to tell you who it is. It is small businesses. Small businesses that are being pushed out of business right now, that studies say like 2/3 of them aren't going to come back. They're gone. People with a dentist office, people with a restaurant, people with this place, a place that sells dog treats, they're going out of business because the government says, oh, hey, you know what? If you're George's, pet supplies, you can't operate. But if you're this guy, you can operate. And the government's giving money to places like McDonald's and Wendy's, places that never closed. You drive through. You don't even have to wear a mask. You just drive through and you get your food. And guess what? What did they do with that? They raised their prices. Gee, what's that? That's another tax on the middle class. Think about that, right? This stuff should make you mad. You should be like, what the hell is going on? Like, literally, you got these people that they claim make all the jobs, but they're not making all the jobs. It's guys like me and guys like you, if you have a business. It's people who have their own business and employ people. It's the dentist with 5 people employed. It's me with 5 to 8 people employed. It's other companies with 10 and 20. And that equals 59.9 million people that do not have a voice. This guy, he's got a voice, right? Why? Because I've got X hundreds of millions and I got all this and I got all that. But cumulatively, these people have more. And it reminds me of that old story with the ants, where it's like, hey, if the ants got together and figured out, like, we got a bunch of ants, we got power, we can talk, then the other people would leave them alone, or the other bugs would leave them alone. And we look at this and we're like, wait a minute. 59.9 million people are employed by small businesses. That's like, I think 47% of the workforce by people like me and you. And you put us out of business, you ain't going to have anywhere to eat except like Amazon sanctioned stores and Walmart sanctioned this, and go to the Walmart dentist and go to the Amazon eye doctor. Right? Is that the kind of country you want to live in? Not me. I like going and getting different food from different places that are owned by different people, knowing I'm supporting people just like you and me. That's what I like. That's what this country is about. That's what this is all about. But right now, it's not. Right now, it's all about the super rich. Right now, it's all about monopolies. It's all about gain and greed and more. Poverty is not a money problem. It's a moral problem. Poverty, hunger, these are not money problems. Money's invented. Congress wants to print money. Get them a poor rich guy, right? Get them a poor rich guy who donates to their campaign. They'll print money faster than you can even say the word print money, right? They'll vote on that thing so quick. You'll be like, what the hell? I didn't even see anyone. They'll vote on it so quick. But when it comes to people who actually need it, we gotta debate and deliberate. It's just really difficult. We don't, do you really need food? You just don't want to work. They can't work. And we're coming to a society where more and more and more people can't work. And you look at it and people say, well, Amazon creates lots of jobs. Yeah. But how many people did they put out of business? I watched a documentary a couple of years ago about Walmart, and they had an executive of Walmart, and he'd go into a town and he'd point at stores and he'd say, in 6 months, these stores are all going to close. Why are they going to close? Because big old Amazon or big old Walmart's coming in. We're coming in and we beat everyone. And they do beat everyone. Why? Because mom and pop shop, I want to start a little store. I got to hawk my house. I got to save up money. I got to debate how I'm going to send my kids to school, and I got to open the store. Walmart wants to open a store. They get government subsidies. They already got a bunch of money, right? It's like that old Bible verse, to him that has will be given more. Well, that's our government. Maybe they paid a little bit too much attention to the Bible, right? To him who has should get more. I think that's the only verse in the Bible they actually read and adhere to. And we look at that and we're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And they're fighting to get you $600. They're fighting over it. And you say, well, Marcus, I voted, and I don't care which way you voted. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. This is a song and dance. It's a song and dance. It doesn't matter. It's a different puppet for a bigger group. That's it. You like this guy, you like that guy. It doesn't even matter. Because at the end of the day, what are you really getting? What is it really benefiting? How's it really helping? And we look at it. Now, I want to show you a president that I liked years ago, unfortunately. And this is what it looks like when you take care of the American people, right? You see the election maps and they're like blue and red and everything. When you take care of the people like FDR did, and yes, FDR did some bad things too. There are some things I disagree with. His handling of racial stuff was not good. It wasn't a different time, but it wasn't good. I don't agree with that. I think all people are equal. Doesn't matter. Everyone's equal, right? And we look at that and we're like, okay, wait a minute. This is what it looks like when you serve the people. Serve the people. That's the election. 472 to 59. Why? Because he said, we're going to give a new deal. We're going to take this away. And this guy came from the rich class. Like FDR was butt ass rich, to put the actual term there. Dude was butt rich. He grew up butt rich, everything. They called him a traitor to his class. And he went out there and said, you know what? Far too long. You see the stock market bubble. Everyday people are losing. They're the losers. They're the ones losing. These everyday people, they're getting screwed. And he said, I'm going to fight for you. And so they said, yeah, let's give him a shot. Next election, he won by even more. Only 8 electoral votes against him. And you look at that and you're like, wait a minute. Why? Because he did what the people want. He put people to work. He made ways for people to get fed. He said, I'm going to care about the average person. And he went on again. They had to make a rule for this guy because he got elected so many times. They're like, okay, we can only have a president for 2 terms because, FDR would probably still be president if that wasn't the case. Why? Because he cared about the people. And you look at what's going on in America and maybe where you live as well. And you look at the things that matter to the American people right now. $1,200 matters to the American people. Right now, I don't care which camp you're on or what side you're on. Medicare matters to people. Like Medicare for all, I think, is a good idea. I think if it was implemented correctly, it has over 70% of popular vote. 70% of Americans, red, blue, whatever, doesn't matter. They say we want Medicare for all. Why? because those people, these guys fighting, making business that employ 60 million people, they got to pay health care. Right. The other day, we were talking to one of my employees about healthcare, and we were like, she's like, how much do you pay in healthcare? And I'm like, I don't know, like $2,200 a month. And that doesn't even cover much. And she's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, your health insurance costs that much? Again, another tax on the middle class. And someone's getting rich. You can always trace the money. You can always see people getting rich there, right? Whether it's this, that, whatever it is, someone's getting rich. Like our old governor of Florida, completely, like, our audio is still working good, completely got rich with healthcare stuff. All right, let's take a look at something else. Here's a chart here of the unemployment rate. In 1929, before the Great Depression, unemployment looked really good. Right? It's like, hey, 3.2%. We're soaring. We're doing good. The rich are getting richer. And they were. You look at the income inequality in those days. It's the same as it was today. Same it is today. Then we go through and the Great Depression hit. Huge unemployment. FDR did some things. There was a war. Employment gradually went down. Now, we look over here in 2008 when it spiked again. 7%, 9%. Great Recession. Okay? Like Don says, healthcare cost is ridiculous. It's absurd. It's absurd to say the least. It's inhumane the way that they run it here in this country, in my opinion. Right? And we look at it. So here we have unemployment here. Now, the current unemployment, we see the Great Depression, right before it, 3%, 8%, 15%. Here, Great Recession, almost 10%. Now, 14% in April. And a lot of people aren't going back to work. And we look at it and we're like, wait a minute. What are we going to do here? Income inequality is a big problem. If you have not studied this, study it. Study it. GJ says, I live in London and we have free health care. It's criminal people here have to pay for being sick. Yes, it's absolutely criminal that you got to pay to be sick. I mean, like, you get cancer and people are more worried about the finances than the cancer. It's like, what world do we live in where the biggest problem is money, papers that people invented? Think about this for a minute. Gold, right? Think about gold. Everyone's like, gold is, got to have gold. It's the great gold. And you're like, wait a minute. What value does gold have? Well, you could use it for dentistry and a few other things. But as a whole, gold isn't really worth that much. It's only worth what people agree it's worth. Our whole society works on agreements. We agree that the politicians know best. We agree that the rich people create jobs. We agree that gold is good and we should pay for health care and every able-bodied person should work because that's what they need to do. If not, you're no good, you don't work, whatever. Okay, some people just can't work. That's just the way it is. It doesn't mean they're lazy. They just can't. And some people, maybe they shouldn't. But some people who can, you should. Very important. Now, income inequality is a big problem. We have learned over the last 40, almost 50 years that trickle-down economics is proven not to work, right? If you think it works, it should be trickling down in spades right now because it sure as hell trickled up, right? Trillions of dollars went to the wealthy. How much did you get? I'll wait. Oh, is nothing? Or $1,200? Yeah, that's not much of a trickle. Not much at all when people are unable to eat. Like, literally, the average American family pays like $800 a month to $1,000 a month in food alone. So, like, the government was like, yeah, you could eat for a month, maybe. You can't pay your rent, can't pay your mortgage, can't do this, can't do that. But here you go. Here's a quarter. And we had to fight hard to get you that. You should be proud of us and elect us again because we fought so hard to get you. Bullshit. Income inequality is a big problem. Trickle economics does not work. It's proven. Very important. If you guys want a list of books, let me know. I'll give you a list of the books that I read that led me to the conclusions I have. I'll put them in the description after this is over. Now, let's talk about this because we got a lot of stuff. This is heavy stuff, right? People are struggling. Stuff's going on. Now, one of the things that I learned early on is that I'm in charge of what I do. I get 8 hours a day. I get 10 hours a day, 24 hours a day, whatever. And I can do what I can do. And there's opportunity. Like, while there's a lot of mess, there's also opportunity for us to build something. And what I want to do in part 2, as if it's not bad enough that the government is like crazy, okay? Let's look at the state of the make money industry. So also, we got all this stuff going on in the government, people not caring about the common person, and we got the make money industry. Now, I'm in the make money industry. I've been doing this since 2008. I've been doing internet business since 2000. I've seen a lot of things come and go. But 2020 has been the year of the scam. There are people coming out of the woodworks. Everyone's an expert. Everyone's got the tips to show you how to get rich tomorrow. You can make $5 million on your phone without doing a damn thing. Right? Yeah. Okay. Sure, buddy. Job scams have increased during the crisis. Work at home scams surge during the pandemic. Work at home scams surge. They're going crazy. And you turn on your YouTube and this is what you see. 30 seconds and you get $6 for free. $900 a day free. 100,000 in my PayPal. One click. You click $40. Let's see if it works. I'll click the BS button. Let's see if we get $40.
That was bullshit.
Yeah, that was bullshit. And you see this stuff and these things are going crazy because people are desperate. And they're like, I'll try anything. I'll try to make $468 with Facebook for free. And I don't have to do anything. Free PayPal, free this, and on you go. Tons of people making tons of BS that doesn't work. And this wastes more than your money. It wastes your money and your time. Because if you focus on what works, you're like, wait a minute. Here's a guy, copy and paste. Get $23,000 free for copy and paste. All right, let's see. I'll copy this and I'll paste it over here. All right, where's my 23 grand? Oh, well, yeah, okay. I got to watch another video. I got to buy another course. I got to do another thing. New website, $1,000 in 25 minutes. $1,200 a day. World. Like, these guys got billions of dollars. They should be solving the problem, right? We look at it, and we got to understand it. Don says healthcare won't get fixed till all those in the government on the same plan as the people. True, and it needs to be Medicare for all. Why does that work? Because here's why that works. And I'll get into this rant, and then we'll get into the rest. I like this stuff. I like politics. I like trying to make a difference. I would run for some kind of political thing if my wife would let me, but she's like, no, I'm not living that life. And I don't blame her. But at any rate, Medicare for all with a 2% tax, right? You tax 2%. And people say, oh, well, Medicare for all, Marcus, you know what? It's $40 trillion. We can't afford it. You're paying it anyway, right? Like how much you pay, like my $2,000 a month for health insurance, your X amount, how much it comes out of your job, how much you pay to go to the dentist. It's $40 trillion no matter how you slice it. So where are you going to get the money? The money's already there. Here's the problem. Guy with $10 billion goes to the doctor. He's charged more or less the same as you, unless he wants a different standard of care. Okay, so he's charged pretty much the same. If the guy with $10 billion goes to the doctor and gets a $10,000 bill, how much does that hurt? Like he literally goes, let me save up. Okay, here it is. Like literally, that's what it is. But to you go to the doctor, you get a $10,000 bill. That hurts. You're like, wait, I can't afford that. 2% flat tax across the board solves the problem. Solves the problem. You're out there, you're like, everyone gets this. And what about the doctors? What about, they're already there. It's already in place. It's not a matter of like spending more money. It's saving. Because when you get the profit motive out, it's all big. Like personal. My dad's going through a battle with cancer right now. He's going the holistic route. Insurance doesn't cover the holistic route. And he's like, lots of doctors, and I'm not saying all doctors, but some doctors are just in it for the money. And they actually get kickbacks on some of the medicine. Like, what? Like, if I do a kickback, I got to disclose it. If I'm like, hey, I'm making money when you buy web hosting, I got to tell you that. Why? Because it's a conflict of interest. But the doctor could say, hey, here's this drug that I get 50 grand on, and, you should take it because that's what I recommend, right? That's backwards. And we look at that. Now, I don't know the exact details on that, but that's kind of how I understand it. And we look at that, we're like, wait a minute. That's ass backwards. You take the profit motive out of healthcare and you make it what the doctors got into it for, which is I like helping people, instead of I'm just going to make as much money as humanly possible. And the problem, as Alan Watts says, is if you just go to work just for money, it becomes absurd. It becomes absurd. You basically are like, hey, I'm just doing this for this. Okay? And people, I think, want fulfillment too. All right. End of the healthcare rant. As we see tons of people struggling, and these guys make $2,000 in 30 minutes. $3,500 free, $1,400 free. I mean, shit, all I got to do is watch these videos and like there's what? 23,900 is 24,000. Now we're at 36, 32,000, 33. It's like 180 grand right here. But it's all bullshit. It's not real. Right? They don't give you real tactics, real stuff. So what's the answer here? Right? The online world is full of just garbage. All right, I try to keep my videos, like I do have to do a little bit of clickbait stuff to get y'all to watch, but I try to give you real world stuff that you can do right now. All my videos, put it to the test. You can do something. Every video I teach you, even the one where I talk about how to make money eating fast food, you can do that. It's actually something practical that you can do. So we look at this. All right, economics going to hell in a handbasket. Make money niche, going to hell in a hand. I mean, how many of you guys are exhausted? You're like, oh my God, I don't know who to listen to. Like I signed up for one of these guys' email list and I'm shitting you not. I got 52 emails. 52 emails from this guy in one day. One day. He's like, you gotta buy this, you gotta buy this, you gotta buy this. And I'm like, oh God, get away from me. That's called spam. I don't know about you, but that's pretty much spam. But they're out there and they're like, what are you doing? Right? I do this. I got into the teaching industry, not because I had to. Right? I made money with affiliate marketing for years. I still do today. I got into teaching because I actually enjoy it. Now, do I make profit off it? Yeah, you betcha. I absolutely make profit. It's a business, right? Do I try to be as fair and upfront with everyone as possible? Do I try to give you tips that you can use? Like you come to my channel here, there's 760 videos you can watch for free. And people go, Marcus, you need to give me your course. Well, go watch the videos, make some money. And then if you want to buy my course, do it. If not, say thank you because I showed you how to do it. And you look at it and you say, what is going on here? And what you got to do is you got to cut past all the clutter. Cut past all the clutter and get to what really works. Stop looking for what you want and the goal. Because I want this, sure. Do I want to do something? Do I want to make $480 doing nothing? Sure. I'd love to do that. Do I want to earn $400 daily listening to music? I listen to music anyway. Of course you do. But you got to look at it and say, what's the deal? What really works? What's practical? And that's where we're going to get to the answer. The first answer is with politics, talk, make your voice heard, call your politicians, write your politicians, demand equality, demand that they do something. Until we rise up and demand and say, this is what we want. We employ 59 million Americans. All right? I know Jeff Bezos and all these other people have a seat. Like, they could go sit in Congress right now. Like, if they were like, hey, I'm Jeff Bezos, I want to sit in Congress. They'd be like, right here, sir. If I want to sit in Congress, they're like, get out of here, fool. Get out of here. We don't care if you don't have shoes or food. Get out of here. It's like that old story in the Bible where they have the church and everyone gets mad because the poor guy walks in. Isn't that who it's for? Isn't that who the government's supposed to be for? We are judged by a society by how we take care of the least among us. Empower them. Listen to them. Do what you can. If you got a voice, make it heard. If you can help people, make it heard. If you can do stuff, use your voice because we can be heard and they can't ignore all of us. 59 million people marching to the Capitol. We say, hey, we employ all these people. I know, this guy employs 500 people. Ooh, screw that. And guess what? That company goes bankrupt, lays off all the people, and still gets a bonus. That's corporate bailout. You look at it and you say, wait a minute, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's make it work because this is backwards. This is backwards. So make your voice heard. That's number one. Okay? And study. Stop sharing these crappy Instagram, Facebook posts. right? Knock it off. I see them all the time, and it's like, you don't need to share that, right? We don't need more junk out there. Focus on truth. Focus on something that matters. Focus on good stuff, right? Like JG says, I think Joe Biden's a good guy. I don't know Joe Biden. I don't agree with his policies. I don't know if he's a bad guy. I have no idea. I don't know the guy. I don't know any politician. I've never met any politician, I don't think. Maybe I did, right? And we look at it. It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who we have in there. What matters is what you do. And it's about you getting the power back. What are you going to do? That's number one. Number two, if you want to make it and thrive in a recession, if you want to make it to where you're not waiting, like I'm not waiting on a $1,200 check. I know I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. I make too much money. They're not going to send it to me. They're not going to send it to my wife. They're not going to send it to my dog. They don't send it to me. Okay? I'm not waiting around for it. And neither should you. What you should do, in my opinion, is find a way to learn to make your own way. Find a way to learn to make your own way. Now, it might be difficult. It might take some work, all right? But everything in life that's worth a damn takes work, right? You got a marriage? It takes work. Come on now. I've been married 20 years now. It takes work. I'll tell you what, leave me alone. Let me make money online. That's easy stuff, right? But you look at it and it takes work. And you got to be willing to do it, because what's the alternative? The alternative is waiting around for people to solve your problem for you, right? I get to sit here and say, hey, you know what? Because of me, there's people that get to work at home. One, because I hire them and let them work from home. And two, because I teach people to work from home. Right? Do you know how many people have been taught to make money from home? And we look at it and we say, hey, here we go. This is how we use it. And we focus and we say, I could do it. And how many of you guys are willing to do it? You're like, I don't care. I'm working 8 hours a day anyway. Like right now, if you were laid off at the beginning of the recession and you're here, you had 8 months. Okay, in 8 months, you can learn a lot of stuff. In 8 months, you could build a lot of stuff. I've seen people grow YouTube channels in 8 months that make them a living that you wouldn't even believe. Now, is that everyone? Are you going to just do a video every day and get rich? No, not at all. But if you do it right, maybe you can get some results. And it's about getting the results. And it's about getting where you want to get. Because if you look at it and you say, okay, the average American lives on what, $50,000 a year? Something like that. You do that over 365 days, and you say, okay, all I got to do is make $136 a day. Okay? So you got 8 hours a day to figure out how to make $136. Hosting companies pay $60 to $200 per sale. Other companies pay $2 to $5 a lead. Some places pay $700 for a phone call. You look at this and you're like, there you go. There it is. And you say, what can I do? Now, you might have wasted the last 8 months. I spent way too much time messing around the last 8 months. I should have done more. Okay. But I did some things that I focused on. And if you go slow and steady and win the race and learn, not a tactic, not this shit. You don't go, I'm going to learn $8,000 copy and paste, and I'm going to do it every day. You betcha. That ain't going to work. It's a scam. It's just there to get the views so he could get money. It's not there for you, right? And some of his videos might be good. I don't know. I bought his YouTube course, and it was okay, right? Whatever. But we go through and we say, what am I going to do? Practical. Who am I going to reach? Who am I going to put this in front of? How am I going to get it out there? How am I going to build? How am I going to grow? How am I going to make this happen? Make it happen, right? And you say, I'm willing to do it. And if you're willing to do it, we're actually going to have a class for you on Saturday. I booked out 4 hours for Zoom. And on Saturday, I'm going to do a full class for 4 hours. We're going to teach you exactly how this works, practical ways to go make it work. We're going to go and do a Q&A at the end. So if you got a website, bring it there. Say, this is my website. It ain't making money. I'll say, yeah, this is why you need to do this. Or, hey, this is my YouTube. It's not getting as many views. Okay, here's why. Here's what you need to do. So there's no excuses. You go through, you say, I'm willing to make it work. I'm willing to listen. And guess what? We actually made it the cheapest class we've had all year. $27. You get in there, you do it. If you can't afford $27, write us. Tell us your situation. We'll try to fix it. But I think everyone's got $27 if you really want to. And the idea behind it is investing in yourself and saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to invest last week. I invested about $2,000 on YouTube courses trying to learn how to do YouTube. Why? Because I want to learn this stuff. Because I know if I get that skill and I hone it, I can do better. Right now we're doing okay, but I'd like to do better. And this is how I learned it. I'm all self-taught. I was 18 years old when I started my business, 19 years old, and I got some books. Some was horse shit. Some were like, wow, that was horse shit, right? Some were good, and I was able to take what I needed. And I've been doing this 20 years, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this work. And you go through, and you make it work step by step by step. And you do something deliberate that makes sense. Not, hey, turn on your phone, and you're going to get rich overnight just by sleeping. Just sleep on your phone, that's it, and you're going to get... Yeah, come on now. Come on, we're past that. But unfortunately, 2020 has made that absurd. There's other people out there charging $30,000 so that you could sell their course for $30,000. That's not a business. That's a racket. That's a racket. It's not a business. What are they providing of value? Hey, come on in, 30 grand. Guess what? You want to make money? Sell people this thing for 30 grand. What? That's a racket. That's not a business. At the end of the day, when the pyramid stops, because let's face it, it's a pyramid. It's an ugly, weird-looking pyramid, but it is a pyramid. That doesn't work. And I know for a fact I could make an extra 7 figures a year by promoting that stuff, but I ain't going to do it because I don't promote rackets and I don't promote everything. A guy earlier this year was begging me to promote his stuff. Like, Margaret, the guy emailed me 500 times. He's on Skype. I'm like, how'd you get my Skype? He's like a stalker. I'm like, I'm not promoting your stuff. Oh, well, you can make a lot of money. I know I can. I could make millions and millions right now by doing something shady. I'm not going to do it. I refuse to do it. I want to do something that I can feel good about. I want to do something that empowers people, something that helps people, that's something that you can do. And that's why in Recession class, we're going to teach you how to do it. Okay, this is something separate. If you want to attend it live, go to recessionclass.com. If you truly cannot afford it, reach out to us somehow, but I think everyone can. Okay, so I don't know, but you got to do that. So we're going to go through in 4 hours. We're going to lay it on the line. If you got a question, we're going to be there till we answer it. Right? Be there till we answer it. And if we go over, we'll make another webinar for free. And we'll answer all the questions we didn't get to. And if that sounds fair enough, if you're like, wait a minute. So I go to recessionclass.com. I pay $27 and I'm guaranteed to get my question answered or my website looked at or my YouTube looked at or like the ebook queen says, pay-per-click ads. Yeah, we'll sit there. We'll teach you as much as you need. Now, is it going to be everything? Of course not. In 4 hours, I can't teach you everything. Can I teach you enough to get results? Yeah, I think I can. You can go out there, you can get results. And by results, I mean promise. Results. People clicked. People viewed. People did this. People did that. That's what you look at. People give up before the magic happens. I was looking at it. Every year, I go through our high-ticket niches domains because some people order a high-ticket niche and they just don't claim their domain. And I'm like, okay, after a year, you kind of forfeit it because I'm not going to keep renewing it if you don't take your name. All you got to do is click a button. It doesn't cost you anything. You get your domain name. You click a button. And they don't click the button. And so I go through all the old ones. And most people do nothing. Nothing. They buy the niche. They don't do anything. They haven't even logged in. And guess what? The work we did, they actually get search engine rankings. Like I looked one up and I'm like, you're sitting on search engine rankings and traffic and you haven't even logged in. Like you're like a guy who's like, I'm broke and I don't know what to do. Well, there's a block of gold right there. Yeah, it's too heavy. I'm broke and there's a block of gold right there. It's too heavy. There's some food over there. I'm too hungry. I can't see that. Come on. Life is abundant. It's abundant. Like literally, you say, oh, what about food problems? You put a seed in the ground and it grows fruit. Magic. I remember I was arguing with my brother years ago. He does not agree with me politically at all. He thinks I'm a nut job, and he's probably right, but that's all cool. And so he was like, you got to have money to make the world work. I'm like, no, you don't. He's like, yeah, you do. I'm like, no, you put a seed in the ground, it grows fruit. He's like, yeah, I got you. But where do you get the seed? And he wants me to say from the store, and I'm like, no, it's in the banana or the whatever it is. It's literally in there, and it's literally free. All the houses, all the wood, all the houses, it all came from the ground. Everything came from the dirt. What is it about? It's about man hours and women hours, to be politically correct. It's about the work. The people who get filthy rich leverage other people's work. Small business, I got 5 employees. I got 8 employees. Big business, he's got 1 million employees. He's leveraging their work. He doesn't have to get in a car and drive the thing that you ordered for like blistering fast shipping to your house. Got other people do it. He doesn't make it. Some company in China makes it. He doesn't put it in a box. Some person does it. And it happens all day, every day. Millions of people. Same thing happens with Facebook. Guess what? You give Facebook free content. Think about this. How do they make money? Because you can't stop talking. That's how they make money. You're out there, I think this conspiracy theory here. I got to share this because, I didn't do any research, but I'm going to share it. And 1 million people comment. And then more people go to Facebook. And you get a little thing and it says, John doesn't agree with you politically. And you go on there. And then you go to Facebook. They're getting rich on your content. That's what they're doing. Your content. YouTube. Your content. Right? Now, is this bad? It's up to you to decide that. I think it's pretty good to have a voice. Right? But they're using your content. We're going to do a video, and I'm going to teach you in recession class as well. But I'm going to do a video coming up, how I start a forum and make money on other people's content. We're going to invite you to put your content on the site, and you can make money on it. Pretty cool, right? You're going to like that. But we have to look at this, and we've got to say, you know what? We can make this work. It's about leverage. I think it was Archimedes who said, if you give me a fulcrum, which is a lever, a fulcrum long enough, I can move the world. Leverage. What can you be doing to get leverage right now? Not just for you, but to help other people too. Right? It'd be a shame not to help other people with what you know. So we go out there and we make it work. So if you want to join that, go to recessionclass.com. If you say, Marcus, I don't want to pay anything. I don't even want to pay $27 for a 4-hour webinar. It's not worth it to pay $7 to listen to you for 4 hours and have my questions answered and learn a bunch of ways to make money. I think, whatever. That's fine. Keep watching my videos. There's lots of free stuff. I don't need your money. Go do what you got to do. Go do what you got to do. People come to me every day and say, how do I start free? You start by leveraging things. How can you help someone? You don't know how to build websites? Learn to build websites and then sell websites to people. Take you an afternoon and you hone your skill and you learn. Videos, learn to make videos, do them for people. People pay $500 to do a good video, $1,000 to do a good video, $500 to make this, $30 for a logo. There's people out there that pay people to remove backgrounds from images. You want to make money? Go on Fiverr, say, I will remove backgrounds from images. Then go to remove.bg, get an account, throw their images in it, and when you're done, send it to them and get paid. Now, you won't get much, but you got to make it work. Does article submission still work? Well, where are you submitting them? I don't know where you're submitting them. I mean, to the right place. If you do it as a press release, maybe it'll work really good. If it's a crappy article, nothing will work. If it's a good article, you can make it work anyway. So you got to make it work. It's all about leverage. Focus on what to do and listen and speak your mind and say, I'm willing to stand up. Because for me, I've always liked standing up for the little guy because I'm the little guy. I started high school. I was 5'1". You think I didn't get picked on? Like, this was back before bullying was a thing. Like, it was like, oh, he gets his ass kicked because he's short. I mean, of course he gets his ass kicked. That's what he gets. Now they're like, sir, we cannot have bullying. Back then, I actually had a time where I got beat up by a kid who was like huge. I got beat up. I got suspended. I got in trouble. And it felt like on Beverly Hills Cop. It's like, what's the charge for getting pushed out of a vehicle? Jaywalking, right? And it's like, I get in trouble for getting beat. But luckily now, the government did something right, and they're like, hey, let's stop bullying, which is good. But at any rate, I digress. I care about the little people. I want you guys to do good. Whether it's free, whether you're watching my videos free, there's hours and hours of videos you can watch here free. Whether you go to affiliatemarketingdude.com and you get the free toolbar, look at the free resources, you're not going to pay anything. Like, if you want to, I think it's probably worth it. But for the rest of you guys could do it. So go to recessionclass.com, get yourself signed up. We'll teach you how to make this work, start to finish, show you how to set it up, show you how to make it work, and we'll do it together because we're all in this together. We're all fighting together for the same thing. I don't care if you got a red shirt on, a blue shirt on, a red hat, a blue hat. Doesn't matter. We all want the same thing. We want everyone to be okay. Everyone, not just a certain group. We want us all to be okay. And we can be okay. Now, unfortunately, sometimes that's difficult to do politically, but we can be okay by finding a way to do our own thing and saying, I'm willing to do what it takes. But be ready to work. Be ready to make it happen. And be ready to make a difference. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, click the bell, go to recessionclass.com, and I'll see you on Saturday.